What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Inside the Vinyl. I'm your host, Tim Tony. If you would go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel below, that would be greatly appreciated. If you could also hit that notification bell so you can be notified anytime we put out new content, that would be appreciated also. So you can see I'm back to the normal angle that I shoot my videos from. However, all the furniture is on the other side. This may be permanent. This might not. Who knows? More will be revealed on that. But what I want to do today is open up an album that's not new. Once again, I'm not timely with this, but it is one of my favorite Deep Purple albums. It's a more recent record. It's from 2013, and it is called Now What? So here's the cool front cover. Here's the back cover. Now, I know I do unboxings late quite a bit. 10 years is quite a bit late. But this is one of my favorite records, so I'm going to combine two of my things here. We're going to open this up, but I also consider this album a lost classic because this is a really, really good album. And I think a lot of people sit on a band like Deep Purple when they put out new records and don't give it a chance just because they just want to hear the same old Woman from Tokyo and Smoke on the Water and stuff all the time. So, to give you a little history on this album, it was released April 26, 2013. It was recorded in 2012. This was produced by Bob Ezrin. This was the first of 4 albums produced by Bob Ezrin, 4 Purple albums. For those of you who know music history, Bob Ezrin produced all the major Alice Cooper records of the early 70s, still produces Alice Cooper to this day. He also produced Kiss Destroyer, Kiss Music from the Elder, and Kiss's Revenge album. So dude has quite the resume. And of course has produced every Deep Purple album since this one. Let's see. It reached as high as number 110 on Billboard, which doesn't sound like much, but the last time Purple had a record in the charts in America was back in 1993. So 20 years, they finally had another record on the Billboard Top 200 at 110. However, this album debuted at number 1 in a bunch of different countries. This was a really big album for them worldwide, just not so much here. The same with certifications. There's no gold or platinum certifications in America. However, the album has been certified silver or gold or whatever it is in a lot of different countries. Really, really good album for them. Really, really, really good comeback album. So here's the front cover. Now what? Here's the back cover with the track listing. Again, pretty basic, just a white cover with very minimal artwork. But still kind of neat. And one thing I will say is that when it was on the Billboard chart, it's a Deep Purple album, but they have it written with like a question mark for the P and an exclamation point for the L in purple. And when you see this on the charts, for like a 1 or 2 weeks it stayed on there, Deep Purple is actually written like this. So that's kind of neat, I thought. So anyway, front cover, back cover without cellophane. And I don't know why it took me so long to pick this one up. I have all the other, recent albums on vinyl. I'm not sure why it took me so long to grab this one. I think sometimes I would consider it and then it would be out of stock. But I got it for a pretty decent price off Amazon, so I was pretty stoked. So there's the gatefold inside there with a picture of the band. Just to let you guys know, this album was released on Adele Recordings, which I think is a German record label, if I'm not mistaken. It's a division of E1, whatever, which I think is the label they've released everything on since. So there you go. There's the inside cover. Now let's see what we have. I don't know if there's anything special about this vinyl, but if we pull out the first sleeve, we look on one side, we see a cool picture of the band as they were in 2013. Back side, another picture of the band, and it looks like some lyrics and some different things. So that's really cool. Okay, it looks like standard black vinyl, which again, I'm always okay with, because I still think that's pretty cool. Is it E1? It's something like that. If I need to correct that, I'll put it down at the bottom. Anyway, here we go, side 1. Again, the sticker in the middle of the record is pretty much right in line with the actual album cover itself, just really basic white with very minimal purple graphics, purple artwork, whatever you want to call it. So very neat, very neat. All right, let me just double check and see if there's anything else in here on this side. There is not. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the other side. Nothing else in there either. All right, it's kind of the same deal. Another picture of the band and some more lyrics. We turn it over, another picture of the band and some more lyrics. And I imagine, this record looks exactly the same, so we won't really do much of that. All right, so let me get this back together, and then we can discuss this record a little bit. Because like I said, I do consider this a lost classic. Now, sometimes when I think of a lost classic, I think of an album that may have had, may have been somewhat popular or whatever when it came out, and then just kind of fell off over the years and is forgotten about. With this album, it's a lost classic to me because I feel like it's just one of these albums. I feel America's very fickle, in my opinion, as far as musical taste and things like that are concerned. It's always very flavor of the month. They're not very supportive, of an artist, once they stop, once it's been so many years or they fall off or whatever. They might still go to the concerts, but they don't buy the records or anything like that. You don't get airplay, you don't get anything else. It's just at some point the industry kind of turns their back on them, and that's pretty much it. Most people probably don't even know albums like this even come out. But now I will say, from in my opinion, the two previous studio albums to this, which were 2003's Bananas and 2005 Raptures of the Deep, were not my favorite Deep Purple records. I didn't like the production. I didn't think the songwriting was that great. I thought the albums were both, they had their moments, but for the most part, as an album, they were both pretty dull, in my opinion. Other people might feel differently. I thought this album was a total return to form. And a big part of that, in my opinion, is the production of Bob Ezrin. Now, like I said, this was the first of 4 records he's produced with Deep Purple. He's produced all their records since this one as well. It got great reviews. A lot of people thought the same thing I did, that this was like a great return to form for this band. Honestly, out of the Steve Morse era of the band, starting with 1996's Purpendicular, I think this is the second best album that they've released with Steve Morse. Purpendicular, is in my opinion, is like top 5, right up there with Machine Head and In Rock, and this one's not far off. This is a great record. Talk about some of the songs. It starts with a tune called A Simple Song, which is awesome. Weirdistan, I think is how you say it. Cool song. I think that's the one with like the really kind of trippy bass line, and gets a little like trancey psyche at the end or whatever, if I'm saying that right. Out of Hand, great song. Hell to Pay, which is one of the first singles off of it. Very, very classic, like Machine Head era type Deep Purple. Uncommon Man, which in my, it's really strong on the organs because it was a song that was written as a tribute to John Lord, their original organ player who had passed away the previous year in 2012. So this was their tribute to him. So it was real heavy on the organ, in the main riff of the song, which is really cool. And actually, if you see them in concert now, it's the one song from this album they still play. They play Uncommon Man at their shows, their current shows. All the Time in the World, which I think was the first or second single from this record. And then towards the end, you have a tribute to Vincent Price, an entire song written about Vincent Price, which is really cool. A lot of little eerie, like horror movie type sounds in the breakdown and everything, really neat. So, so in addition to the vinyl, it's available on CD and all your whatever you call them, streaming formats and all that. Apple, Spotify, Pandora, all those. There's a lot of alternate versions of this album too, with bonus tracks, or even one that I think even has like a whole live album or a whole concert or something like that on like the second CD or whatever it is. So there's all sorts of formats to check this record out. I think everyone should, if you're a fan of classic rock, but you don't think there's enough new stuff out there, just know there's still a lot of classic rock bands putting out great records. Just because you don't hear it on the radio doesn't mean it's not good. And this is a prime example. Deep Purple, Now What? You should pick this up. I can assure you will not. If you're a fan of classic rock and a fan of Deep Purple, you will not be disappointed. That's all I've got for you this time. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we put out new content. I've got the rest of my Inside the Vinyl series, which includes unboxings. Most of the time, those unboxings include new records, reissues, re-releases, box sets, deluxe editions. Sometimes they're CDs. Most of the time they're vinyls. It just depends on what's coming out. I've got my Lost Classic series, which this album very much is, and my live album series, which will be continuing here soon as well. And let's see, I've got some concert footage from some different festivals and concerts over the last few years, and that about sums it up. So like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace out. There you go, boy.